Yeah, let me check it out. I was thinking that like I would get calls and like I have like a back and forth.
Well, eventually, so now you're just gonna do like you do. Like you and me are talking. You say you're talking to me. Like you usually do.
So what happens?
You want to talk about you just you and I talking like usual. This is Facebook Live right now. All right, let's next look over there, Wiz. Yeah, the blue arrow. Now, what's better for you, that monitor or this monitor? I gotta cut off one. Which one is the same thing? Which one do you want?
I guess you get to go this one.
Yeah. Now, the only problem is the keyboard's over here. That's the only problem.
All right, so I'll use this. I'm sorry.
Merry Christmas.
All right.
That's the note. I got to ask you that note right there. He doesn't have a fade. It's in drop. I got it. This is drop, no fade.
Oh, where the comments at?
You sound so sexy. I use me on coffee.
What's that? You said what up?
1 minute. I'm plugging a keyboard over there for you, or you can use that one.
No, I'm fine with this one.
Okay, I'll cut that one off so that won't slow things down. You want after this, okay? You just do the same reading you did, and then you go into use. Now, if you want him to help you out at the beginning, he got the shit and pull up. He's a straight married man. Can't relate out here.
Listen, I know my boundaries. I know exactly where to go to, where not to go to.
This is your show, bro.
Get that right off that door. It's the top switch. Gotta go. Left. Top. No, go. Both. Turn both off.
Oh.
Yeah. Thank you. That's a reflection. 30 seconds.
Which ADD you got?
Say again?
So you see a lot.
Right there.
It's not on to your training live.
What do you mean?
It's not showing you live.
Oh, it's crashing. You know why it's crashing? You probably got too much stuff going on. But he can't type over. Oh, you can talk. You don't have to type. Just talk.
Just talk. You don't have to say. I can type for you. You just talk to them, and I just type. You know.
At gmail.com.
We're here.
Ask me a call if you want.
I use me on coffee.
What up, Facebook? This is DNA Live. I'll be your host. What's going on, Facebook? This is DNA Live. I'll be your host, Rock. I'll be hosting every Saturday from 5 p.m. to 6. I'll be talking about problems and issues within our community, SGL, same gender loving, or you can say LGBT. BNU is Star and Rock, a live action interactive radio program for my brothers and sisters within the SGL community. And I'll be addressing issues, and I'll be taking various calls, having dialogue. It's not a monologue. Let us hear from you. You can input your live comments. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions. But hopefully we could put a voice out there for some of the brothers and sisters that don't often get talked about within our community. And I'd often like to hear some of your feedback.
What do you mean? What's this SGL? What's that about?
SGL is a term that I guess came up with, meaning same gender loving. For those
same gender loving. Oh, I like that. Same gender loving. SG. Oh, makes sense. SGL, same gender loving. Great.
But anyway, yes, we need a voice out there for some of us brothers and sisters who don't have a proper representation as to how we identify and how we choose to live our lives.
So this is your world premiere performance or show, I should say?
Yes, this would be the first program, and I'm hoping that in the future I could come up with more, interesting topics. Like I said, I'm trying to be the voice for our community. I think it's time that people understand, what kind of people actually exist within our realm.
So in terms of the different, we were discussing this earlier in the week about the different so-called categories. We were talking about gay, same gender loving, bisexual, down low. Could you explain some of that? Because it's confusing to me at times.
Well, for most people to understand that, yes, there is a difference. And what makes them different is how they think. The only thing that most of those categories have in common is that their choices of whatever gender they feel like they would like to pursue.
So the DL, down low, is that a community within the gay community? Is that a community within the LGBT community? Or is that something totally on its own?
More or less, I guess you could say it was a label or a category used to help, describe certain types of homosexual type of men. Or you could say women in that case. But for the most part, that's usually a terminology for homosexual men.
So I assume that this down low is similar to somebody in the closet. Is that correct?
More or less.
So with this down low rock, is that like sort of a homeboy, b-boy, roughneck, thug? Is that the same type of category?
For the most part, it has people that has stereotypes. So
I'm a little close to the mic. We want to hear your deep bass. Was that baritone? That deep baritone voice. Sounding all drugged out over there.
No, but really, it's really a terminology for certain, I guess you could say, caliber or how certain people carry themselves.
Wait, you said caliber. What do you mean? Is there a rating system now?
I wouldn't necessarily say that.
So what do you mean by caliber?
I guess certain styles within, I guess I would have to say the African American culture or hip hop culture. Most people want to adapt to, that's the representation they feel that best represents them. And that doesn't necessarily mean they're going out their way to hide, but that's the life they enjoy being, that type of person. So why would that type of person would have to have a negative stereotype or stigma attached to how they choose to interact? Well, whoever they go home, I feel comfortable knowing that I could go to a club and have my choice between a man or a woman.
At the same club or different clubs?
Depending on the vibe. I mean, if you find somebody attractive, you can see certain things that you feel like, hey, I'll go for that. Providing that, that individual is available for that purpose, because, not everybody's that, but most people know their guidelines and their boundaries of who they can approach versus who they shouldn't approach.
Could you elaborate a little more on that?
Well, basically, I know how to pick and choose, and I'm not really interested in somebody who I don't feel like the chemistry of the vibe could be mutual. So therefore, I would know that that person would not be a choice. And rather than waste my time,
you're speeding. I can hardly understand. Just slow down a little bit, please. I'm a little, my ears are slow and old. I gotta catch up to all that knowledge you got there.
But no. But rather than waste my time or come off as disrespectful or somebody who don't, respect people's boundaries, I'd rather just say, hey, look, I understand, I could read, body language and chemistry, so I make sure to know how to interact appropriately or accordingly.
Well, you mean to tell me if you go to a gay club or a same gender loving club, you mean to tell me all these gays are not in love with each other? I mean, people actually have choice and they pick and choose? They're
they're no different than a heterosexual individual, male or female, no different. You get to pick who you feel is right for you, who best represents, your style, complements you, compatibility, the whole 9 yards. We have choices like that.
So you mean, this is confusing me. You mean if I go to a club and I see 20 guys, wouldn't I just want all 20 of them?
Well, no, you would have a preference. Some like them tall, some like them short, some like them, big bone, red bone, yellow, it's like flavors. Like you go to an ice cream parlor and you pick your flavor.
Okay, you knew that was a rhetorical question anyway. But people see, I think the straight world believe that. I heard it is a real. I'm going to jump topics for a second. This is so funny. One of my associates. See, I've never been in. I'm turn this mic down a little bit. I have never been in anybody's closet. I wouldn't even know where the closet's at. You know what I'm saying? To even be in one. So one of my associates knew I was, same gender loving, gay, whatever, right? And they just thought they can just introduce any other same gender loving gay person to me, and I would go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs.
Well, that's definitely wrong. And again,
but they were so-called straight. They didn't know no better. They said, "Oh, I have a gay friend too." Oh, okay, interesting.
Well,
and then it was totally.
Unfortunately, it's limited to stereotypes, and that's what I'm kind of here to correct. It would be nice to know that people could see that, hey, look, this individual has a preference. They would go for this. You know how they move. No different than you want to be an artist, or you want to be an electrician, or you want to be a carpenter. Whatever trait you feel represents you, that's the best. Do the best at your job that you could. That's why this program is called Be You.
Be You. I hear that. Be You. This is Be You starring Rock, or AKA Rockman, down here live on DNAradio.net. This is a world premiere program starring our special host, Rock, on Be You, live on Facebook. By the way, live on Facebook. That's Andy Lee. That's my assistant. You can go to Facebook and catch Andy Lee's page and join the conversation. You said something about a dialogue and a monologue.
We'll be talking to live, viewers or people who get into our program. You can call us live right now at 917-727-8020. That's 917-727-8020. Remember, BU is a dialogue, not a monologue. Just please let us hear from you. We would like to hear your input, your comments, concerns, any kind of questions you may have arising, any kind of topics you want. I'll be more than happy to. And again, you can call us at 917-727-8020.
Okay, so we were talking about the down low community. I'm trying to understand this. Is that a community itself within the same gender loving or LGBTQ community? Is that separate, or is that part of?
It's a little bit of both. I would like to consider it more or less a part of the SGL or the LGBTQ community, because they still practice having sex with the same gender, which is still classified as homosexuality. And again, I'm going to elaborate more on these, subjects and these
groups,
categories,
okay.
subcategories. We all share the umbrella of homosexuality. Homosexuality means that you're one gender that enjoys the company or the sex, or,
homosexual meaning homo meaning same, so same sex, homosex.
Yes.
Heterosex, different. Okay, so there's I'm getting confused myself. There's the transgenders, then there's the feminine guys, then there's the thug/down low guys, or am I just making any categories up, or is this figment of my imagination?
They're not really. They're really more like individuals who portray that image or that style of how they feel represents them, more or less, But again, those are more other, subcategories from other existing branches. But there's a main branch before you get to those particular categories.
So when did you? Were you born gay, or you just decided one day I'm going to be gay? How does that work with you?
Well, for starters, individual would have to identify with what they feel represents them, especially when it comes to sexuality. Sexuality is an expression of freedom.
Slow down, Rock. You're kind of going too fast for my brain. My brain is kind of slow over here.
Sexuality is an expression of freedom of oneself. To best, represent of where you feel, you belong at, and where you feel like you would want to be. Again, there's homosexual men, which is they only engage in the homosexuality part of engaging in sex, whether it's companionship or they just enjoy the company of.
I'm going to interrupt, but there's homosexual men that engage in
just the sex part of men. They don't care about the culture or anything that the lifestyle would have to offer.
Now, this is Rock's interpretation, Rock's theory, Rock's philosophy?
I wouldn't say it's necessarily mine, but being around different people in the community, you tend to learn different things where people's at, and of course they have actual programs throughout different cities that would actually help educate, and they're run by other LGBTQ people within our community to help educate and show that there's different types of people within our community that don't fit a stereotype.
So back to my original question. I think I'm jumping around, so bear with me. So, were you born gay, or you decided to be gay?
I would say
I'm using gay because everybody know that is the same gender loving, so we'll use that temporarily for now.
Totally understand. For the most part, I would say it's a combination of 3 different factors. Some people were born that way, some people learned it, and there's circumstances that would make an individual choose, which actually, like I said, I would like to believe for my case that it was more or less a choice and circumstantial. And of course, a little bit of, hey, that's a natural feeling I actually had, and I decided to act upon it.
Circumstantial? Explain it.
Well, think about it. Like, for instance, I feel like the kind of women that I'm attracted to they're kind of hard to approach and talk to.
Women or men you're attracted to?
I'm bisexual. I'm attracted to both genders.
You're bisexual. So there's heterosexual, homosexual, and you're bisexual. Okay, I'm listening.
Yes. My kind of bisexual, I don't live the stereotype where I have to try to pursue a man and a woman at the same time. No, it's either one or the other. If I have one, I don't care about the other because I got what I want and I can focus on that individual.
Well, when you say you don't care, I'm going to pick up on all the little words that slip out of your mouth. What do you mean you don't care at the time?
Well, I have a focus where I'm not interested in any other thing but what's right in front of me.
Okay, so it's Tuesday, let's say. Well, let's say Saturday. You're in front of you. You have a nice, voluptuous woman with big tits and a big booty. So you're interested in her at the moment, or I don't get it.
Well, no. I mean, the feeling's mutual. I'm going to pursue being with that because life doesn't really offer you too many individuals where you can actually be yourself and be you 100% where that person wants you to be you.
Okay, I suppose you see you're in the club. You see 2 beautiful, gorgeous black individuals, 1 male, 1 female. What do?
It's just simple. Pick one. Pick which is more appealing to me. That would have my focus where I wouldn't care about what the other one has to offer.
You couldn't wind up picking both?
Nah, that's too confusing, and I don't want to be conflicting like most men. It's bad enough a lot of us have a rep. Most women tend to think we're all the same or we all think the same, but we're not. We're not driven by the same. What motivates us, what we're driven by, that's what makes us different. And that goes for any man, whether we're gay, bi, heterosexual, or homosexual. We all want different things. We all have a vision of how we see ourselves as an individual, how we want to grow, and how we want to progress. So,
You read something earlier that was on your cell phone, that opening. Do you have that still? Is that still in front of you? The opening you had earlier. I want the world, because this is DNAradio.net. It's a radio station 24 hours a day, all over the world, and we're live on Facebook right now, and we're live on YouTube right now. And there's something you read earlier. You have that in front of you? Can you read that again?
Oh yes, DNA Radio.
Just take your time. No, not that last paragraph you were reading. You were defining, I think, a person being true to themselves. Remember that section? It was like one of the last comments you were making. If you can have it.
No, I don't have it.
Oh, was it on your phone? It was on your phone, right? You have it? Okay. So all right, while Wiz is finding that for you, help us out down here. You can continue in your explanation of the feelings of one day you might want a female, one day you might
again, I would say the stereotypical bisexual would probably have that kind of problem, whereas though whatever that individual had been through in their life to develop, they haven't reached that point where they could actually focus on things like such, where I don't have that problem because I usually go with the agenda or prerequisite of what I actually know I want. And what and again, it varies with different individuals. Not every individual, function like that. I had used to get questions back in the day like, what do I prefer more, men over women, or do I feel like a squirrel? Some days I feel like a nut, some days I don't. I'm like, I don't really have that problem. Mine's come basically, like I said, circumstantial. You know, if I see an individual I'm interested in, that becomes the target of what I feel I need to go for. And if there's a possibility that it doesn't, then there's plenty of other people. I got choices. I don't have to be limited to just one choice.
Okay. Interesting. All right, so this is BU. This is DNA. By the way, this is DNAradio.net, and this is a brand new show or program. I don't want to call it a show because we're not performing for anyone. So this is a brand new program called BU, and our host is Rock, aka Rockman, down here live in New York City. Like I said earlier, we're live on the radio 24 hours a day. DNAradio.net. We're also live on Facebook. And Wiz over there handling the Facebook page, and we're live on YouTube. So what's that number again, Rock?
All right, yes. Call us live right now, 917-727-8020. Again, that's 917-727-8020.
There are several points you made, and I started taking notes, but I'm trying to use my memory. You had mentioned that you were not born a certain way. Now, that's going to cause a great controversy, starting with me, probably.
Well, a lot of people would definitely dispute that. Again, I say it really varies between the individual. Again, we're not on the same wavelength. We don't all come to certain realizations at the same exact time. And again, it's different for each individual. And to really take a grasp of that, you would really literally have to go from person to person to see how each person feels and where they're really at.
Interesting. So, I'm at a loss of words. She's not known for either one of us, right?
But I think you earlier I was kind of reiterating about different types and different categories that exist within our community.
We're listening.
All right. I think I started with the homosexuals that they don't care about the lifestyle, so they wouldn't be able to be classified or defined as somebody who you would classify as gay. The only characteristic they share with a gay man is that they have sex with other men. That's it. Nothing more. How they want to be with men, how they see themselves with men, that's what makes them different. You got bisexual. Obviously, I told you, I kind of fall in that category. It's either one or the other for me. And again, that means they have the choice of either gender. Then you got, of course, heterosexual, which is either, men dealing with women or women dealing with men. And that's what they predominantly, go by, and that's how they identify, their sexual orientation. And then you got down low, which is no different than basically another bisexual guy, except for he may not be as open with his sexuality or as comfortable to feel that he can pursue either a man or a woman. Now, there's a reason why there is a label or title called down low. And
the down low, I'm wondering who coined that phrase. Did they get that from the record that was R. Kelly record?
Well, basically, it more or less somewhat kind of means that it's basically like, you have a secret, you're kind of hiding, and it's not really like out there in the open.
But just because someone's on the down low, it might be they don't, how do you say, they don't flaunt their gayness, for lack of a better term.
Well, there's no
they're proud. They're proud to be gay. They just don't flaunt it.
Yes. And some of it's for professional reasons. Think about like corporate America, or to get a very good high-end job, you can't really be open with your sexual, sexuality or your sexual orientation.
And her Marilyn Monroe, she was flaunting her femininity.
Well, unfortunately, the stigma, the stereotype out there is that it's okay for women to do these things, but when you see two men, people feel like ew.
I noticed you posted a good picture on your page, which were two masculine men kissing in public. You posed the question. Well, read that comment. I think we found the comment I was asking about earlier.
Yes. Okay. I actually kind of said this more or less. It's to be true to yourself takes courage. It requires you to be introspective, sincere, open-minded, and fair. It does not mean that you are inconsiderate or disrespectful to others. It means that you will not let others define you and make your decisions that you should be making for yourself.
So would that probably be like the theme of BU? Just be true to thyself for the most part, and don't worry about world is trying to judge you. Just be you and be proud of you.
Well, yeah. For instance, there's a lot of unhappiness in the world, and that goes in any culture or any walk in life. And life's already hard. Why make it any harder that you can't pursue the very things that your heart desires and the dreams and the goals you want to do and want to be, instead of being oppressed by thinking what other people feel. And yes, it's easier said than done that you don't have to think about what others say, because it doesn't define you. But sometimes we live in times where walking by yourself, most people don't really want to walk alone because it's a lonely path.
It's a lonely path. I like the way you phrase things. It's a lonely path. That's a good T-shirt. It's a lonely path. I keep my mouth closed. I'm still the idea. Anyway,
Still everything else, right?
Huh?
They steal everything else.
They steal everything else. By the way, all our stuff is copyrighted, and if you steal our ideas, you're coming after you without lawyers.
Definitely don't want that.
Call us live right now. That's 917-727-8020. Help me out, Rock.
Again, that's 917-727-8020.
Remember, like Rock said earlier, BU is a dialogue, not a monologue. Now, if you want a monologue, he can just sit there all day and just talk by himself. So we want a dialogue with you out there in the world, so it can go back and forth with Rock and you and our listeners. So let us hear you live. Give us your input and your comments. One more time, Rock. What's that number, please?
That number is 917-727-8020.
And we're live on DNAradio.net. BU with our special host and starring Rock, aka Rockman.
Yes, sir.
Okay, did we cover all those categories, or were there a few other categories?
Well, no, I think I left off with explaining why there is a reason for download. Most reasons because of the stigma attached. Most people aren't really trying to take the time to educate themselves to know that there are different types of people within this community that think and feel differently. If you're going to really say something that best identifies where somebody else is at, my theory is that really defines that individual who is saying that comment, because that's how they feel homosexuality represents them if they chose to walk down that path.
I had this discussion with one of my associates, and he was saying that I really don't feel your lifestyle, right? He said lifestyle, and I had to correct him and say, listen, I don't have a lifestyle. I have a life. Do you so-called straights have a lifestyle, or do you guys have a life? So it's not being same gender loving, gay, LGBT is not a lifestyle. It's a life, in my opinion, in my humble opinion. What do you think about that, Rob?
Well, think about it. Lifestyle has the word life in it. Let's let that sink for a minute. It has the word life in it. Now,
I looked this up. I should put on. I mean, just reading it off Wikipedia or what's the guy named Webster, that idiot Webster, doesn't mean it's right when he defines it. But it made some sort of sense to me. But I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm. Basically, it's how that individual decides what style they want to carry that best defines them as an individual. We got calls.
Oh, it's the phone.
You want to help? Okay, we're getting calls. So don't lose your thought. I want to pick up on that thought again. So we're going to switch over to a live call and get back to Rock.
What's up, caller? You talking to Rock?
This is Keisha from Brooklyn.
What's going on, Keisha? Sounds pretty nice.
Hey, I just wanted to say congrats on the show, and I'm really looking forward to your content.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's very heartwarming and very welcome. I feel honored. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. I'm watching. All right, have a good show.
All right.
You're on Facebook or you're on YouTube?
we're live. You got any questions? Any topics, or I'll be more than happy to enlighten.
Well, I really don't know much about same-gender loving, so I just wanted to listen in and see what it's about.
Okay, now you're watching us on Facebook Live or YouTube Live?
Facebook Live.
Okay, thank you for calling.
No problem.
Don't be a stranger. Listen in. We're on here every Saturday. Be you with Rock. Thanks for calling.
Okay.
Help them out with how you cut it off. Okay, once again, we're down here live. What's that number again, please, Rock?
Another number is 917-727-8020. Again, 917-727-8020.
And like Rock said earlier, BU is a dialogue, not a monologue. So we want to hear your comments and your input. So feel free to call us live. One more time, that's 917-727-8020. Now, we were making a point and the phone call came in.
Oh, yes. Basically
about life and lifestyle.
Oh, yeah.
Life and lifestyle.
Well, basically, it's the style that individual choose to represent themselves and how they want to project themselves in the world, and of course, how they feel in the inside. And again, being a voice to help others understand how that individual may be feeling. Who knows? You may take that individual in a different, way to bring something in the world that's not here.
So on that note, in terms of life and lifestyle, so you had mentioned that you're I'm going to call you, and just don't take this the wrong way. I'm going to call you sometimey, because sometimes you're bisexual and sometimes you're same gender loving. So I'm going to call it, for lack of a better phrase, sometimey. Yes, no?
No, because
Okay.
that's like saying today I feel like a nut, and sometimes I don't. No, again, it depends on the individual. Some people may identify as what you just said, but the way I feel identified means it's an ongoing thing. At any given time, I can find a man or a woman attractive if I'm in the right place and I have my eyes set for that particular individual.
Okay.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. All right, what do you look for in a woman? What attracts you to a woman?
Well, for women, for starters, let me get on to say there's the difference of why I like women, and what I like about women compared to men is women can bring me something that a man can't, and I only expect that from a woman. If a man brings that to me, I would probably be turned off, and then vice versa. There's characteristics that I like within men that I want specifically from a man and not from a woman.
Wait. So I'm sorry.
Hold on. What's that?
Masculinity and femininity.
Okay.
I want femininity in a woman because it's natural. I like that feeling. It makes me feel something that a man can't do. Versus if a man tried to do that, it wouldn't appeal to me.
So I'm confused. So if a nice, cute guy full of sugar come to you, that's a turnoff.
Well, yeah. What's the purpose? For me, I feel like what's the purpose of messing with a guy? I mean, I'm a guy who's attracted to men. I'm a guy for a guy. Guys find me attractive being a guy for them. They don't want any kind of femininity or any kind of feminine traits coming from that. So that's what they would pursue, and I'm pretty much open for that.
So is your masculine trait, is your masculinity, is it a costume, or is actually you?
Oh, that's the real me.
Okay. So you mean tell me you like the femininity and the girly stuff in a woman, but it's a complete turn off in a guy?
Yes, absolutely.
Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. So are we still gonna finish this life and lifestyle? So do you believe that the same gender loving community, SGL, same gender loving community, it's a lifestyle and not a life? That's what I'm getting confused with your comments.
Well, because for the simple fact, this particular brand is not, how would I say, 100% accepted or even understood. So therefore, it's not something that's openly practiced and welcomed, in society. And because so little is known about, the culture or what incorporates, the community of SGL, a lot of us like to just pretty much keep it to ourselves since it's not something that's understood or accepted.
Well, when you say not understood and accepted, okay, not accepted, I agree, but I think it might be somewhat understood after 50 years because the Stonewall Rebellion goes back to 1969, and now it's 2019. That's like 50 years come June. It'll be 50 years. So it should be somewhat known, maybe not completely accepted, but somewhat known. And you can either comment on that point, or we're going to go to a quick station break. However you want to do it. You want to comment?
Yeah, I'll say my input. Well, for the most part, again, there's still a lot of, it has nothing to do with, people being unhappy, but again, it's, stigma. When you have to deal with stigma, people don't really adhere or learn how to be free dealing with the fact that, okay, if I'm like this and people see me as this, why should I be open with, what I do? For the most part, because this is how I carry myself. I'll use me as an example. In this lifestyle, I kind of been like, I wouldn't say discriminated in a negative way, but in the sense, like, I went to a gay club and, some of the people outside that, check you out, they were saying like, this is a gay club, and they
They
found out.
thought you was in the wrong spot.
Oh yeah, because I guess I didn't come up with that appeal, that vibe, and I'm like, okay, how does one supposed to look or feel to do these things? And if that's what it takes to show that it's like that, first of all, again, that doesn't represent me, so I don't want that.
You wasn't walking around with your Gucci and Prada.
In lack of terms, hell to the no, but I don't even own Gucci. I didn't know what Gucci was until I heard it in the song.
So because you were a masculine black male, they assumed they thought you were in the wrong spot. Excuse me, sir, you are aware this is a gay club.
Yeah.
Why are you on this line? Okay, on that note, we're going to pause. We got to do a station break and promote the other shows down here on DNAradio.net. Now, we could come back to BU after Love and Lust is right after this program. So we can come back if your time permits after their program, after their show. We can come back for 2 hours until Nate Ski takes over in California. So let's promote the other shows. We'll alternate. I'll start off with one and you'll take two, back and forth, okay?
Got you.
Thank you. DNAradio.net presents live the True School Show starring Nate Ski 225, Knowledge, Not Garbage. Every Thursday, he plays hot reggae at 7:30 p.m. On Friday, Nate Ski plays classic black music at 7:30 p.m. And tonight, Saturday, Nate Ski will be live right after the repeat of BU. BU's coming back.
Nate Ski just chimed in. He said, "What up, God? What up? Peace, Nate.
What's up, Nate? What's up, Nate?" On Saturdays, Nate Ski 225, he plays the independent playlist. That's all the new and up-and-coming artists from around the world. That's Nate Ski coming on. Right now, you tune into BU, then Love and Lust is next, and then it's Nate Ski. You're number 2.
The DNA Show. Listen throughout the day, all day, every day.
And then we have the Doc and PZ Show. That's my good friend, PZ Weezy TZ. See, Doc is a PhD, and PZ is a dummy. He's a ventriloquist. So that's my good friend, the ventriloquist, PZ Weezy TZ. He comes on Friday at 6:30 p.m. Number 4. On you.
The Love and Lust Show, starring Red Spice, every Saturday at 6 p.m.
And she's next up in about 3 minutes. And then we have Venus versus Mars, starring Wiz and Charms. They usually come on at 7:30 after Love and Lust, but Charms is on special assignment with her kids today, so she won't be starting tonight, but she'll be back next week. And then we have number 6 on the backside. No pun intended.
We have the DJ NyQuil Show, real good vibes with DJ NyQuil from Tallahassee, Florida, every Friday and Saturday from 9:30 to 11 p.m.
And then we have the Happy Hour with DJ Powerboy All-Star from the Boogie Down Bronx. He comes on every day, 12 noon, and he repeats it again at 6 p.m., and then he comes late night at 12 midnight. And we all know that Queen Mother Lois was on last week. Yes, Queen Mother Lois was on last week. That was the first Saturday of the month. And Queen Mother Lois comes on every first Saturday. She comes and teaches us real Black history. That's Queen Mother Lois every first Saturday. That's 9:30 p.m. All these shows are based on Eastern Standard Time. Listen live 24/7 on DNAradio.net. Any closing pause remarks before we pick up with Love and Lust and then we come back with your program? BU, any pause and closing remarks?
Well, again, I encourage all the callers, all the listeners, who's tuning in live to our show, call, give me your comments. I would definitely like to hear your voice. And if you have anything you really feel is worth putting out there, definitely give us a shout. Again, man, I'll be more than happy to broadcast and put that voice out there.
Do you guys have that reading that last? Oh, you don't have it. Okay, we'll get it together next time. I love that thing you read about how to be you and this, that, and the other. We'll probably print that out and we'll read it as a regular intro. Okay, Love and Lust is on deck, ready to take over. I want to thank Rock on his first world premiere program down here on DNAradio.net. You did an excellent job for your first time on the radio around the world and your first time with us live on Facebook and YouTube Live. Let's hear it for Rock, the Rockman.
What's up? Welcome aboard, bro.
Feels good to be here.
about to finish it right now. All right, let me just see. Just hit the end.
Time flew by, didn't it? That was a quick hour.